It's been several weeks since I've made a video with the Volt, so I wanted to see what it looks like when you power it up. So just push the start button with the brake down and it powers up. And it's finally spring here in Arkansas, so you can see that the EV estimated range is 67 miles. So that's pretty typical as the weather warms up. I put between 250 and 300 miles per week on the Volt. And the last time, I'll let you see on the right there is the fuel gauge, and you can see that I'm down to 77 miles of estimated range on the fuel, and then on the left is the battery indicator that I've got to charge. And so the last time that I bought gasoline for this car was like the last week of December. So today is the 18th of March. So it's almost been exactly 3 months since I bought gas. I commute 60 miles a day roughly, and use this car primarily. There is another vehicle that my wife and I drive occasionally, but for the most part the Volt is getting the daily commute. So the reason that the gas has been used as much as it has is because during the cold months, when it drops below 32 degrees, the engine comes on to manage the battery temperature. Some people in the forums I've seen that they change that setting so that the gas engine doesn't kick on at freezing. I know there's a setting where you can actually set it lower, but in the experiences that I've had, it's actually been really better for the battery. The battery performs better, I've noticed, when I just let the engine kick on. So I'm never really worried about it, and actually I get more miles out of the battery. I don't worry about spending some money on gas. I want that engine to work the way that it should, so it doesn't bother me to run the gas engine some. But I think it's still amazing that I've been able to run off of electric with no fill-ups in nearly 3 months. So that's a pretty incredible use of energy, I think. Still, also watching the web and seeing how many new electric cars are coming out. I think there's just going to be a lot more of these cars in the future, in the immediate future. And what I'm excited about is seeing an infrastructure of charging stations develop, so that hopping in a fully electric car and driving coast to coast is a possibility. I haven't had a chance to drive a Chevy Bolt yet that's fully electric, but I'm hoping to have that experience. But I know for the needs that I have currently, the Volt has been perfect. If I want to hop in this and take a long trip, it's totally possible. If I just want to make my close, roughly 60-mile daily commute, it serves those needs really well. And I'm probably saving about $1,000 a year in gasoline costs. So not a huge savings. It's not like the car is going to pay for itself unless I drive it for a really long time. I also like the reduced maintenance with this car. I've had it a year and 2 months, almost a year and 3 months, and still have not had to have an oil change. In fact, as I look at my oil change indicator, it is showing that I have 39% of my oil life left. So I'm still several months away from having to have the oil changed in the gasoline engine, because the gasoline engine barely has 2,000 miles on it. So gas engines is still practically brand new. I've been driving 2 miles and my EV range is now down to 66. I'm going down some hills. In a training, the car typically doesn't do quite as well in the rain, especially if it's a pouring rain and the car's treading water. You're not going to get near the range. If it's a sprinkle, you're still using the windshield wipers, so that's going to affect the range as well. But so far, the car, in I guess 14 months of ownership, we've really enjoyed it. My wife and I have. We've got 18,891 miles, if you didn't notice when you looked at the console earlier. So it's been really good. I've put every one of those miles on the car, I guess except for the first mile or two when I picked it up, and I've just really enjoyed it. Be sure to check out the other videos where I show what it actually cost me to charge the car. I put a kilowatt meter on my my plug, and have been kind of monitoring that for several weeks. But I did do a video where I show what it actually costs to charge the car, and so upcoming videos I'm hoping to show. I'm going to show how to check the battery coolant, and it looks like I may need to add just a touch of the battery coolant. I'll talk about where I got that battery coolant. I would think it's the same for the Chevy Bolt with a B as well. And maybe I can do a video where I do have a pretty severe hill that I climb on the way to work, and would love to show how the regenerative braking works. It's kind of interesting to see how going up a mountain will take your EV range down. But then as you go down a really steep incline and use the regenerative braking paddle that's located on the left side of the steering wheel, you actually see energy going back to the battery, and the EV range actually increases. So it feels like you're putting gas in the tank, and I'll try to create a video here soon with that, and maybe I can share how warmer weather, like right now it's 50 degrees, so I'll definitely get better EV range today out of this car than I would have on a day where it was 35 degrees. And I won't use any gasoline today. I'm going to go about 24 miles, like 48 miles round trip, so I should still have plenty of EV in the battery left by the time I get back home. So I'll show here when I get to my destination how many miles I have left after going about 24 to 28 miles. So right now I've gone 4 miles and I'm still sitting on 66 miles of EV range. So I'm not driving on a super fast road, averaging between 35 and 40 miles. That'll change on part of my trip, but the car will do really good today. And then whenever I can have a 70 or 80 degree day, I'll try to share the results as well. Just made it to my destination, went 28.2 miles, and I used 22 miles of EV range, and it rained pretty steady all the way, so that's really good for a rainy morning that fluctuated between 49 and 50 degrees. So we'll see how the car does on the trip back home. Okay, just pulled up at the house and went 52.9 miles and have 20 miles of EV range left. So looks like I used 47 miles of EV range and actually drove almost 53 miles. So it was a good day. On the trip home, I didn't have any rain, so that worked out better on the trip home, and the roads had dried out what little water was on the road. So real efficient ride home, and I'm still running on less than a quarter tank of gas, and hopefully I can make it 3 months without purchasing any fuel, and see how that goes. So watch for another video soon, and I'll share some of the things I talked about earlier, like how the regenerative braking works, and for those of you that don't have an EV, I think you might find that interesting. And then also we'll share the battery coolant level, and also didn't mention this earlier, but I came up with a solution for a spare tire for the car. So more videos to come. Have a great week.